Welcome to the Toolbox with a practical chapter on mental health for students. And this is often a bit, let's say, ignored a little bit, but there are actually two basic approaches towards mental health, and that is coaching and therapy. So coaching and therapy, although they're very much overlapping and they're actually complementary, and even techniques from one is used by the other and reverse, they're very much different. And let's explore that for a moment. So coaching is very much understood like sport coaching. You're very comfortable in certain things, but you want to improve. Can be sport related, can be practical like time management or study techniques, or study approaches, project management. So coaching is very much understood in that aspect, and that's overall correct. But there are certain elements that you need to understand, because therapy is very much a different approach, an entirely different approach. Also, the people that are therapists are trained completely differently, so they can approach a different layer of mental health that is important for you to know. Now, let's dive into these differences, because coaching is very much you being in a green, comfortable zone, and you want to learn something specific or improve something specific, something you don't like or something you want to improve, and they bring you from the green zone, you being in a comfort zone, into the orange zone. And the orange zone, what do you mean by that? You get a little bit triggered, you get a little bit puzzled what's happening, but it's about exploring different options. And it's always a bit triggering, a bit exciting even, something a bit scary, but it's just like bringing you to the orange zone and back to the green. And that is very important to understand that difference. It's very much about triggering you a little bit, but never go to the red zone. And by the red zone, I mean where you get over emotional, you start crying, you get emotional. Because when you're in the red, you don't learn anything anymore. So it's very much about you being in a learning situation from going green to orange and back, so that will help you out. There's also the explanation why people get tired after one day coaching session, because they get triggered by going to the orange zone and back, because overall that's a tiring exercise. So that's important to understand that difference. If you know about coaches that bring you to the red zone and people start crying, let's say in a group session, avoid these coaches because they don't know what they're doing. They should understand this is not the purpose of coaching. It can happen that people get triggered because you cannot predict how anybody will respond to certain things. But it's then the importance of the coach to bring them back to the green zone as soon as possible. That's a very important thing to understand. So coaching is very much about opening options. So it's about, hey, this is a situation you tend to look at, opening options. You see more options, understanding different roadmaps and different paths you can take, different directions, but also helping you through that journey. And that is important. So it's about opening options, helping you out in that, understanding where you are, what you want to improve, and also helping you with the journey and guiding you through that journey. It's also very much about the coaching contract. This is not a financial contract, by the way. It is about understanding that, hey, what can be discussed and not discussed in a coaching session. And certain things that you don't want to discuss because it's off topic, it's something, it's more personal, it's something it's might be relevant for the coaching therapy session, but it's something you don't want to deal with. Therapy, on the other hand, is very much where, not always, but most cases where people are already in the red. It might be temporary, they get triggered and they're in the red zone, they're very emotional, they're stressed, there's a lot of anxiety, maybe depression even. And a therapist, for them, it's important to bring you down to the green zone as soon as possible. It can be through therapy itself, but it can also do medication to really bring you down to this green zone, to stabilize you, to reframe things what's happening, but then to follow up with classical therapy. And that's the huge difference. And it can include also some life coaching sessions because it's about improving your life or looking at things differently. But the first priority is bring you to the green zone as soon as possible. It might be that you visit a therapist and you understand that time to time you get triggered. And of course, then you go to your therapist and not to a coach, because these are very different approaches. You see the green to orange for coaching or from red to green as soon as possible for therapy. That's the huge difference. I need to understand that. Also, coach is not trained in therapeutic applications or insights on that, or trauma responses that you might have to something. That is important for you to understand. Good coach will understand that, and they will really tell you that, hey, for this, what you're asking me for, that needs therapy, not coaching. So and even reverse. So it's very much about you to understand what you need in that session before you go, when you approach a coach or therapist. So it's very clear. You get this, I'm sure. If this video was relevant for you, give it a like. Give me a comment if it's needed. And follow me on my channel for more, and see you there.